It's your daily dose of Donna. It is the final day of March. You guys, it's Friday, March 31st. I am in a good mood today. You want to know why? It's twofold. Number one, it's sunny out. It's cold, but it's sunny out here in Los Angeles. Number two, in a few hours, I am heading down to the desert, to La Quinta, for a lovely 2-night vacation. It's a really short one, but we've got to get back. My kids have camp next week because they're on spring break, and I've signed them up for camp. And we've got to work. I got to show it for you guys. I got to come back in. I've got gossip to share with you. I am live on Instagram. Shout out to my Instagram community right now who's watching. I am live on Instagram and not TikTok today, just trying new things out. One day, maybe I'll go live on YouTube as well. But I like having that live element because then, if someone's interested and is watching, they can kind of join in and share, their thoughts on these things. Everything's really, really good for the podcast right now. I am so excited. I just want to do a quick shout out to this upcoming private podcast that I'm releasing. It's just going to be 2 or 3 episodes. It's for anyone that either has a podcast or wants to start a podcast and wants to grow it using video. I'm going through my entire process. I am teaching you guys exactly, and it's free. So the link is in my bio. It's called Grow Your Show with a video. You know how they say you're either a grower or a shower? I want to be a grower and a shower. So welcome to being here. The reviews this week on the show have been phenomenal. Do you like how I stopped that? Phenomenal. No, for real, they've been so good. I've really appreciated all the reviews. I'm just going to read 1 or 2 because I like to kind of shout out a couple of the reviews that come on in. Number 1, I'm at 82 starred reviews. I'm trying to get to 100. If I get to 100, I'm going to do a raffle or something. I'm so wanting 100. The most recent review was Wednesday from Quan T8. It says, I stumbled on Donna because of the Heather Megan spat. I'm a juicy scooper. That's Heather McDonald's world. I can't begin to tell you how happy I am to have found Donna. So refreshing. I've become a loyal listener. Her delivery is awesome. Great point of view. Yay! Thanks, Quanti8. I appreciate you. The podcast is growing and the videos are growing. Everything's really going well. So I'm stoked. It's like a sign from, I always say, if you are struggling to figure out what you want to do in life, follow 2 things. Number 1, what lights you up? What excites you? What makes you happy? Go do that. But also, is there a market for it? Is there a need for it? Are people actually wanting it? Because we could love, building sandcastles from morning till night, and that's great as a hobby. But if you're trying to make a career out of it, it's probably not ideal to build a sandcastle if no one is interested in paying you to build a sandcastle. That was literally the most random thing I've ever said. Okay, you guys, let's start. These are 3 things I'm covering today. I'm going to just touch on Gwyneth because we got to touch on her. Then I'm going to, but short. Then I'm going to go into Vanderpump Rules, and then I'm going to talk a little bit about Heather McDonald because I have so many Heather McDonald fans. I don't know, maybe I'll go Heather and then end with Vanderpump. So we're going to make this fast, short and sweet, like Daily Dose always is. Number 1, Gwyneth Paltrow. If you have not been following the trial, and a lot of people, it's kind of surprising. A lot of people have not been following the trial. They're not that excited about, the trial as maybe others are. I have not been fully following. I have not been watching every single day on court TV. I'm not that interested, but I like seeing the highlights and I like seeing the chatter about it. Here's the thing about Gwyneth, and I've talked about Gwyneth on the show. Number 1, she's connected to Tracy Anderson, which, by the way, I posted in my stories the other day. I had a Tracy Anderson ad. Tracy Anderson is of the fitness influencer, fitness trainer, God, no, I don't know, business owner. And there's this ad that keeps popping up on my Instagram stories. And one of my friends, she's a trainer at F45, sent it to me. She's like, are you seeing this? It is the most bananas thing I've ever seen in my life. Tracy Anderson's wearing this little sports bra and she's got her busting out rib cage and she's just doing these weird dances. Gwyneth Paltrow is what put Tracy Anderson on the map. And for that, I will always be a little anti-Gwyneth. Now, Gwyneth is a business owner in her own right. She does an amazing job with her business. I mean, she has exploded, right, with all of her, Goop stuff and everything that she's done around there. But we talked about the bone broth a couple of weeks ago. And then, of course, right after that, she went right into this trial. Now, she was acquitted, basically meaning she's not guilty. She is completely fine. She's getting paid $1, opposite this man who was suing her for allegedly injuring him in a ski accident. By the way, this just reminded me, I skied for the first time in years in Mammoth a couple weeks ago, or like over winter break. And I don't know if you guys were following me then, but I loved it. And like, I felt like it was like riding a bike. It took a second and then I got into it. But there was one ride, there was one time going down where and it was like a big mountain. So like I was not going very fast. I was not going very steep, but I was definitely like staying away from people. But like I went past this one person, didn't touch them at all. And they got scared or something. And they were like, whoa. And they flew backwards. They flailed. And then I was like, sorry. But it wasn't my fault. I just felt bad for them that they got scared. And then I went down. I kept going down. And then all of a sudden it was like another person was like, whoa. I was like, what am I doing wrong? I was literally just in my own life, my own world. Danielle says her facial expressions during the trial are everything. It's so true. She is not coming off. Look, I think that everyone knew that she was going to be innocent. I don't think anyone thought that this guy had a case, but she was not coming off likable. I mean, she was smirking, making fun of the whole thing. I would imagine she's a very condescending person. And as I mentioned in the episode the other day, how a former waitress of hers had said that she's like horrible. I just don't have like the best vision in my mind. She's like, it's like Bethany, right? I used to be such a fan of Bethany. Did I ever tell you guys? I don't think I've told you. Bethany Frankel blocked me on TikTok. Okay? I'll say that again. Bethany Frankel, the Bethany Frankel, skinny girl, huge mogul, all those things, blocked little old Daily Dose of Donna on TikTok. The fact that I saw this, I almost died. Number one, the biggest joke about this is that I used to be the biggest fan of Bethany. Like, massive, massive fan. I would ask anyone that knows me, like, I was Bethany. I wanted to be Bethany. But then something happened in this last year, right? On TikTok when she started talking about the Kardashians and Meghan and, like Harry and Meghan, and there's a lot of Megans. And I just was like, oh, she's like turning me off a little bit on TikTok. Like I liked her makeup stuff at the beginning, and then I just started to see this like really, really odd side of her. And then when she gave the cease and desist on TikTok was when I was like, ooh. But I don't really talk about her on TikTok at all. I had one episode where I was talking, actually funny enough, about Tracy Anderson. I was talking about Tracy Anderson, and then I mentioned Bethany Frankel, and that was the clip that I used on TikTok. So I am sure her people saw it, alerted her to it, or maybe she saw it in her For You page because it's about her, and that was that. I'm not really offended. I think it's kind of funny. I'm not sad about it at all, and I really wasn't like super enjoying the content, to be honest. Like I loved her. I thought she was so funny, but on TikTok lately, she just comes off bitter, right? Everyone else feels that. Or maybe you're a big Bethany fan. So I'm curious. Let me know in the comments. I know Bethany is like so polarizing with people. You're either a Bethany stan or a not Bethany fan, right? Okay. There's no like in between with Bethany. So let's get into so that was Gwyneth. She's fine. I saw a meme the other day that said now she can go and have 2 cups of bone broth. So good luck, Gwyneth. She can go back to skiing. She's good. Everything's fine. Now let's get into a quick little Heather McDonald juicy scoop story. So Heather McDonald released another Patreon. If you didn't hear any of my episodes last week where I talked about the big spat that she had with Jeff Lewis, Jeff Lewis Live star and Jeff Lewis best friend, Megan Weaver. Megan Weaver and Heather McDonald had a little bit like of a fight, I should say. Megan came at Heather in Palm Springs last weekend, and it was very stressful for everyone, and it was a whole thing. I know my internet is not going very well on Instagram, so if you guys are here, just say hi. Just make sure that you guys can see me because it keeps saying paused. I just want to make sure that hopefully you guys can. Okay, so she had this big falling out with Megan Weaver, and it turned into this like huge story. It was really what got my podcast on YouTube and like took off with the Juicy Scoopers. What up, Juicy Scoopers? And then Megan apologized. Heather kind of accepted the apology, but hardly. And I think at this point, that relationship is done. Well, right now, Heather McDonald is currently in Cabo San Lucas for, I should say, Jeff Lewis's big trip. However, Jeff Lewis is staying with a few friends at one hotel, and Heather McDonald is staying with another friend of Jeff Lewis, but like in a different hotel with their kids. And it feels a little weird. It's like kind of a disjointed trip. But Heather McDonald had a Patreon and she released it this morning. And she basically mentioned that when she planned this trip, it was a long time ago. She couldn't really afford or didn't want to spend the money that Jeff Lewis was staying at the hotel. And so she and her girlfriend, a friend of hers, and their kids decided to stay somewhere else together. And that being said, they've been there for about 24 hours. We have not seen one sign of hanging out with Jeff Lewis. I don't think they are. Sorry, Erica. I know you know nothing about this stuff, but thank you for the support. I have my Instagram community that's like, who are you talking about? But anyway, she did mention it, that she's kind of just like there and doing her own thing. My guess is maybe they see Jeff Lewis on this trip a little bit. But for some reason, I just have a feeling it's not going to be like I have a feeling that she and Jeff Lewis are on the outs. I just think that her bringing it up last week or 2 weeks ago threw the entire kind of like circumference of Jeff Lewis and his people a little bit like off. And they've made a few little jokes about Heather McDonald here and there on the show. So like, I don't know. There's a thing there. That's just like a little update, but we'll have to see. We'll have to keep watching stories to see who Heather McDonald's hanging out with in Mexico, if there is a connection, if they hang out. It's interesting that they haven't yet. Okay. And we're going to end on some Vanderpump tea. So I do the dirty work for you guys. Okay. I am the person that will listen to all the podcasts. I will watch all the Instagrams. I will follow up on all the TMZs and the page sixes and the daily doses and the daily mails. I will watch the TikToks. I will do all of that because I am bringing it to you guys. Vanderpump Rules. So Sheena Shea released an episode of her podcast, Shenanigans, this morning with Lala, and they recorded it yesterday. And I think it was yesterday or maybe it was Wednesday, because they were talking about it was the day of the trial. So just to, real quick recap, after Sheena Shea found out about the scandal, about the affair, she was with Rachel Raquel. And apparently she got a little physical with her. And the next thing you know is a few days later, Rachel Raquel puts out a restraining order, a temporary restraining order against Sheena Shea, and saying that she got punched by her. My guess is this never happened. I think Sheena is very clear that she put her arm on, like Raquel basically touched her wrist and Sheena kind of like pushed her off of her. I think it's been debunked that she actually did get punched, and Rachel really just did this because she wanted to keep Sheena away. She wanted to play this victim card. And on Wednesday, Sheena Shea and her husband Brock went over to the courthouse, and they ended up, Rachel and her people didn't even show up. So it was a big waste of time for everyone. It was a PR stunt. It's not a good look, Rachel, who was meanwhile at Tom Sandoval's house. Okay. But here's some tea that we found out from Sheena this morning that I thought was kind of interesting and a little different. Number one, the way that she and Lala were talking about Rachel is pretty crazy. Essentially, we know that when Sheena Shea found out that Rachel, I love it, Sheena Shea, Rachel, like everyone has like their double name. When she found out that Rachel was having an affair and she was in New York, and this is like, Sheena's best friends with Raquel and best friends with Ariana. So she's in between these two people. She basically, I have a comment that says from Marty, why don't you call Lala Lauren if you call Raquel Rachel? That's actually not a bad idea, or not a bad thought. I would say the reason why is because I'm not like anti Lala at this moment. Is that bad? I know that sounds kind of weird to say. She's also not shy about like admitting the fact that she's Lauren. Lala's not trying to pretend that she's not like that she was born Lala. And I think that is maybe the confusion. Jax also has very clearly said that his name is not Jax. What is Jax's name? Now I can't remember it. Is it like John? John Taylor? Okay, so but that's a good question. So Sheena, they said some like crazy things. They said that when Sheena found out that she was having an affair, Raquel was not even like apologetic. She was just very point blank about it. Yeah, I'm having an affair. When Sheena And then they mentioned that at the reunion, Raquel never shed a tear. We are not going to see one tear at that reunion from Rachel. We are only going to see silence, kind of, and even a smirk, even a smile at a certain point, we heard. So there's no obvious like outpouring of apology, of feeling guilty, of feeling sad about this. Like, if I was caught in this kind of position, my only way I would be able to handle it would be to like fall on the floor in apology and like cry. I don't know how you can be like, yep, It's giving sociopath. It's giving like mental effed. It's really strange. It's strange behavior. And I think that that's just kind of like what she was told. She was like, you gotta just you have to be like strong and not show that you're being hurt by this. But my husband's upstairs and I just heard like a big like boom, boom, boom. And I think the best thing here is that, for her, she should show vulnerability. And Rachel's not showing any of that. A couple other things. There were definitely like Spidey sense issues throughout the year where they were like, this is interesting. For some reason, Sheena has Rachel on her Find Your Friends, like location finder, which is weird. Like the only person I have with that is my husband and my kid, my 10-year-old, but I don't have any friends, but I guess like some people are just wanting to know that their friends are safe. It did feel to me like Sheena and Rachel have had a very strong like mother or like big sister relationship. Like Sheena has really taken Rachel under her wings for the last year after her breakup with James. She's been struggling, da, 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 da. So I do think that there was a part of her that was like, I just want to make sure you made it home safe. And she said that she would start to see her location turned off. And that should have like rung a bell, right? Why is your location turned off when it was just on an hour ago? Now it's off and it's, 1 a.m. Where are you? So there's issues like that. I think in general, like the podcast in general, just shed some light on the fact that, we found out that it wasn't the fight, the physical like assault that they had to kind of break up during the reunion. Jax Taylor had said the other day that it was Tom and Tom. Again, a lie. They said that's not who it was. So we know it wasn't Tom Schwartz against Tom Sandoval. I'm thinking it was probably the way Lala talks about this reunion. It sounds to me like she stood up, she lost her mind, she blacked out because she talked so angrily. My gut feeling was Lala was involved and James was involved. That's my gut feeling right now. Anyway, the show is like, it's one of these things that will never, ever, I don't know if it's ever going to feel like we've gotten enough. Like we just are constantly looking for more until the end of the season. And then it's like not to be like, it's also to be said that there's just not a lot of other good, Bravo gossip or anything right now. For me, I'm not finding anything that's like tickling my fancy, if you know what I mean. Right? So it's Vanderpump, it's Scandival, and I'm just keeping you guys up to date on things that are exciting me in this like online space. But I'm curious what you guys have to say as always. If you are not already, make sure to follow me over on Instagram. I'm on the stories all the time. You can follow me into La Quinta and we can have margaritas together. Make sure to follow me over on TikTok. I'm at This Is Donna Bowling as well. And I have a new Facebook group for those of you that missed that news yesterday. I have a new Facebook group. Thanks, Erica. I have a new Facebook group called Daily Dose of Donna where I'm going to be chatting with my inner circle, my daily dosers. So it's just starting. It's a small and mighty group, but jump in there and say hi and introduce yourself. I'm curious how many other LA listeners we have. I hope you guys are doing well. I hope you have a freaking fantabulous weekend. We deserve it. It's been a week and I will see you guys on Monday. Hopefully, rested and recharged. I doubt I will be. Okay, bye guys.